Oh boy, the time almost got away from me here. No, it's still 4:44. Whew. Yeah, I was reading a new email on the same subject as my topic today, so I wanted to get a little bit more information before I started the video, and the time was slipping past. Anyway, the title is "Trying to Protect Their Turf." Let's face it, folks, those who have benefited from the system of lies we call the Matrix would like to maintain the status quo forever, if possible. Anytime anyone comes with a serious challenge shining significant light into the darkness of the fraud and deception, the former masters get really scared. They begin to wage all sorts of attacks against those shining the light, killing them if possible, but at least killing their reputation in an attempt to discount, it should really say discredit, the truths being revealed. And I want to change that to discredit because I like that word better than discount, even though that's what I typed. I'm not saying he's perfect, but I believe this is what is happening with Kevin Annett. Yes, I listened to his 2-hour interview with a lady named Lisa yesterday. To me, he not only faced the criticisms leveled against him, his answers made sense. In this world, as long as tyrants hold so much power and weapons, a certain amount of secrecy is necessary. The cabal will do anything to protect its turf. Okay, and then I see I have a period there, but another word got typed. I don't know how. I dictate into this with dragon, naturally speaking. So anyway, I was just reading, the email that I was just reading came from one of the people that lives in the Netherlands and works with Mel V and Rich. And so she is giving me additional information. And she's saying there are still holes in what Kevin is saying. There are still things that parts of the story that don't add up. And it's not about his testimony so much as it is about the testimony of a witness in Europe who is testifying about the daughters that were, or minors, whatever. Her daughter. Okay, about a lady's daughter. The names of daughters must be left out because they were still in the network. So Mel had to go over and edit the interview that she did. Anyway, there was a whole lot of confusion there, and I just read that. So that's new information that came to me after I wrote the blurb. And I don't think the dust has settled on this issue by any stretch of the imagination. However, my mom always told me this, to believe the best about somebody. And I realize the significance of what Kevin Annett is doing in revealing the crimes that have occurred in Canada and continue to occur around the world, where people that are high up in the power structure do ritual abuse of children and murder and all sorts of crimes against humanity that are being done by people at the highest levels of our matrix, of our system. Oftentimes it is people in royal bloodlines that are horrendous pedophiles and human traffickers. Horrendous. I mean, this stuff goes on all over the world, even in our present day in the 21st century. And Kevin Annett, probably more than any other individual, has tried to shine the light on the problem. And I don't believe it's any coincidence or any accident that so many people try to find and dig up so much dirt on him, because he has dug up a whole lot of dirt on some very powerful people. I know, for example, that a very close friend of mine was also someone who shined the light on people in high places, and because of that, false charges were leveled against him, and he ended up spending time in solitary confinement even to as punishment for exposing something that people in power did not want exposed. This stuff goes on in our world all the time. And I recognize it. And I recognize that there could be a time that comes in my life, for example, where they start, because I'm trying my best to shine the light on how the system really works and to educate people on what's really going on in our world in the financial system and the government system. I'm not doing it insofar as the human trafficking and stuff like that. I'm doing it more in line with the financial tyranny and the crimes against humanity that are being committed because people have been kept ignorant for so long, and the establishment people do not want the ordinary people to know the truth, because when you know the truth, it threatens the game that's being played. I know that. In fact, the ambassador and I had a conversation yesterday, our first conversation, in which I had just finished recording my video. He actually called me at the time that I would normally be doing my video, which I wonder if I should be telling Skype to do not disturb right now in case he tries to call again. But in any case, he called and I shared with him what I had, some of the things that I had said in that video. And I actually removed 37 seconds or something like that, 37, 38 seconds of something that I said. He says, if you share that, Ron, he says, that could be blown all out of proportion. He says, I know how these people work. And when you start giving them any ammunition that they can use against you, they will try to, they will take that. And it doesn't even matter if it's the truth. They will extrapolate things out of it to try to sell something that makes people believe something that is not the truth. And he says, I highly recommend that you not say that. And I also talked with Aristo and ran it by Aristo, and he agreed actually with the ambassador. He said, yeah, he said, these people, when they get desperate, they do crazy things, and you know, protect yourself. Don't give them anything that they can use against you. And I mean, I don't usually think like that, because for me, I just tell the truth. And I've tried my best all of my life to do that. I don't hide behind false names, or like you know, some people, they don't use their name and stuff like that. And I understand that. Like in the case of the ambassador, for example, I know his name. Those that know him know his name. Those that need to know his name. But he's not going to put his name out there. I know they've tried to kill him at least a couple of times. And this is the world that we live in, because right now we are on the cusp of moving into something that I believe is very, very positive. But I also know that that positive world vision, that positive timeline, is a threat to those that want to stay on the old timeline, that want to maintain, as I've always said, the status quo. And the two worlds do not coexist. The world that we've known is a world that's based on lies and deception. It's based on character assassination. It's based on actual assassination. It's based on bringing charges against people that aren't true, and all sorts of stuff, folks. I mean, the people that have been running the program of the Matrix are desperate to try to keep it going, to try to keep the house of cards in place. And there are people, the ambassador has told me in different conversations, that there are people in the family that express concern over some of the things that I share, some of the points of view that I make. Now, I know that in the family there's not unanimity. I mean, the ambassador has made that clear, that there are still people that are still very much wedded to the Matrix and the old ways, and they would rather just change the label on the bottle, so to speak, from, as the ambassador always says, from Diet Coke to Diet from Coke to Diet Coke, I think is the way that he says it. But I mean, I say it from sell Pepsi instead of Coke. It's the same poison in the bottle is the point. And we have to look at the poison. If we're going to wage a war on ignorance, the only way we can do that is to tell the truth. Only truth can set us free. And in listening to Kevin Annett, all right, some of the people that he works with may not have their story straight, like what this email that I'm just reading, and it's, yeah, that's the end of it. And one of the points that she makes in there is that common law courts have no jurisdiction. Well, let me tell you, folks, I trust common law courts more than I trust the Admiralty Maritime courts that we have, because those latter courts, the Maritime courts, the Roman courts, are based on lies. We're dead. You know, they see us as dead. They see us as slaves. They twist the wording around. Nothing is based on truth. It's all based on lies and deception. The whole criminal justice system, the whole financial system, the whole political system, it's all fraud. And people like Kevin Annett and many others around the world are trying to establish courts of justice that are based on law, that are based on truth, that are based on human rights, that protect human rights. The Admiralty courts will never protect human rights. It's not a structure set up to protect human rights. It's set up to protect corporations. It's set up to protect the matrix and the families that run the system and have been running it for a long time. I'm taking my stand for truth. I will take my stand for common law. I will not go along with people that throw mud at Kevin Annett or anybody else that's trying to do their best to expose the problems that we need to address if we're going to have a world that can possibly achieve peace, that can possibly achieve abundance for everyone, that can achieve an environment of love, an environment of compassion, where people are given an opportunity to actually grow, to actually thrive. That's what Foster Gamble is all about creating a world where we can thrive. But we can't thrive in the old system. And people are going to have to face the light and the truth if we're going to topple their house of cards so that we can have a world that many of us envision, that's written on the fleshy tables of our hearts, that we want with all of our hearts and beings. Now, there's a lot of people, of course, that are still asleep. They're not even aware of hardly anything. They're asleep. They're in ignorance. But there's a lot of people that are waking up. More and more every day are waking up around the globe. And as I called yesterday, I called for us that want freedom and want truth and want the wrongs to be righted, to try to work together, to try to forgive each other, as I need to do. You know, it's easy for me to look and find what's wrong if that's what I want to put my focus on. And some people, that's all they do. I mean, it takes me a long while of working with someone before I give up on them if I see that the pattern is simply irretractable. You know, they don't want to let go of that way of living their life. I mean, there are people, as I've said, that they think their whole purpose is to dig up dirt on other people and to be mudslingers. And it's hard to work with that kind of person. But I don't know what the motivation is behind. Why do they need to do this? Why do these people that throw the mud at Kevin Annett and others, why do they need to do that? Is it because they love truth, or is it because they want power and they want to destroy the credibility of someone like Kevin Annett? I don't want to destroy anybody's credibility if they're moving in truth. Now, if Kevin has lied, and if some of the things that he has put out are not true, that will be exposed. But I think what he has done overall is a good thing. I know that I'm trying to do a good thing. I know the ambassador is trying to make a difference, a positive difference for the people of the world. I think it's important that we recognize that people are changing at all levels of society. People are waking up. The ambassador is one of the lights that's shining in the darkness, as far as I can tell, as far as my contact with him has indicated. But I've worked with other people who seem to thrive on darkness, who seem to thrive on negativity. And that also exists. And I have firsthand information or firsthand experience with other people that seem to like to hurt others. I want to help heal. I want my life to count for that to the best of my ability. And I realize the turf that we're playing on is a turf that has been protected by criminals, because national security is a criminal concern. It's a concern of criminals that their nation, their national security, is threatened by truth. As George Bush once said to that little reporter woman from Texas, if they ever found out what they do, they'd tar and feather us or hang us from the nearest street post or whatever, however the quotation was. Because we're dealing with people that have no morality, have no ethics, have no concern for human decency or human rights. They are of a criminal mind. And that is what is being exposed and what must be exposed if we are to turn the world around and right the wrongs and stop the crimes against humanity once and for all and end the financial tyranny that has ruled the planet far too long. Thank you for listening. Namaste.